Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Roman Reigns recently returned to WWE and now has a new character. The original tribal chief is looking at a more ruthless version of the Bloodline and has some issues to settle with Solo Sikoa. Over the past few months, there has been a lot of talk about how Roman Reigns is seen as the greatest of all time at present, given that he was able to hold the World Championship for 4 years. Moreover, when he was gone, it was like a huge part of the company was missing. I believe that in Reigns' absence, several stars like Solo Sikoa and Jey Uso were finally able to step out of his shadow. On Raw, Jey has been able to show what he's capable of without the original tribal chief since exiting the Bloodline last year. There are many stars in the company at present, including Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, who put everything on the line at WrestleMania XL. Moreover, they carried the company in Roman Reigns' absence. But I think fans have overlooked this in favor of the aura surrounding Reigns. Roman Reigns casts quite a shadow over WWE at the moment. I noticed that Solo Sikoa was able to prove what he is capable of throughout Roman Reigns' hiatus. Now that Reigns has returned, it seems as if Sikoa is being overlooked again. Reigns' return was inevitable, and after Sikoa called him out several times, it was clear that the two men would do battle at some point. That said, the argument about whether Roman Reigns is one of the greatest of all time isn't in question, nor is the fact that he is one of the greatest champions of the current generation. But the issue here is that he is being seen as one of the greatest of all time for a run that was just a small part of WWE's overall history. In conclusion, I believe that Reigns has accomplished a lot in WWE, and it took him a long time to become the tribal chief. That said, when put up against stars like Shawn Michaels, Rey Mysterio, The Undertaker, and several others who have longevity on their side, it's hard to put him in the same conversation after just 4 years on top. While I will admit that Reigns is one of the biggest draws in WWE at present, it's hard to hand him the GOAT title until he shows what he can do when he's the underdog in the story. Since taking over the Bloodline in Roman Reigns' absence from WWE, Solo Sikoa has added multiple names to the faction. However, a WWE analyst thinks they may not be as loyal to him as they appear. The analyst in question is none other than Sam Roberts. On the latest episode of his Not Sam Wrestling podcast, the 40-year-old addressed the possibility of Tama Tonga turning on Solo Sikoa after the right-hand man stared at the Ula Fala and was slow in giving it back to the self-proclaimed tribal chief on the August 9th episode of SmackDown. While a fan wondered if Tonga was thinking of betraying Sikoa and siding with Reigns, the WWE personality disagreed. Although Roberts did not rule out that Sikoa's associates, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu, may not be as loyal to him as they seem, he pointed out that he believes it is not because they like Reigns, but because they are selfish people. I felt like, 'cause I saw what you saw, and it didn't feel like Tama is like, oh. It more felt like the Ula Fala has this power and it changes you. You know, it has this seductive way about it. For an inanimate object, it's as seductive as it gets and it makes you want to like, look at this. This is what separates me. I could be the king. And I felt like that's what I was getting from Tama Tonga, and maybe this idea that Solo soldiers, to your point, Sarah, are not quite as loyal as they appear. But it's not because they like Roman, it's because they're selfish people, he said. 1 hour and 41 seconds to 1 hour 1 minute and 20 seconds. Sam Roberts thinks an absent WWE superstar could return to claim the Ula Fala while Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa are fighting over the Bloodline's leadership symbol. Sam Roberts suggested on his Not Sam Wrestling podcast that The Rock could return to claim the Ula Fala for himself. The WWE analyst proposed multiple scenarios for the ongoing battle over the Ula Fala, including one that would see the final boss become the tribal chief with the backing of Sikoa, leading to a feud between him and Reigns. It would be very interesting to get to a point where maybe when Roman Reigns and The Rock are feuding with each other, what if Roman has the entire family at his back? What if when The Rock comes back there's another debate as to who the tribal chief is? What if the Ulafala goes off Solo Sikoa's neck, but it doesn't go to Roman Reigns, it goes to The Rock, and now people have to make their choices not between Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns, but between Roman Reigns and The Rock, with Solo Sikoa backing up The Rock? WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry also recently predicted that The Rock will return to become the Tribal Chief. It would be interesting to see if the final boss will get involved in the ongoing Bloodline civil war. The title of greatest of all time in WWE is one that carries significant weight, a title that transcends mere statistics or even prolonged dominance. The term GOAT isn't just about who holds the championship the longest or who racks up the most wins. It's about the impact a wrestler has on the industry, the connection they forge with the fans, and the legacy they leave behind. Roman Reigns, with his 4-year World Championship reign, has undeniably etched his name in WWE history. However, does that automatically qualify him as the GOAT? I would argue not. Longevity versus legacy. Yes, Roman Reigns has held the WWE Universal Championship for over 4 years, a feat that hasn't been seen in the modern era. But longevity alone doesn't equate to greatness. If that were the case, we'd be crowning every long-reigning champion as the greatest, which clearly isn't the case. Longevity can sometimes be a product of circumstances rather than pure talent or innovation. Look at someone like Bruno Sammartino, who held the WWE Championship for nearly 8 years. While he's undoubtedly a legend and one of the pillars of WWE's early success, he isn't universally recognized as the GOAT. Why? Because wrestling's evolution and the criteria for greatness go beyond simply holding onto a title. In Roman's case, his lengthy reign, while impressive, also benefited from a protective booking that saw him go long stretches without defending the title, particularly during the pandemic. His absence from weekly shows has been as much a part of his reign as his presence, making his dominance feel less organic and more like a manufactured storyline designed to elevate him, regardless of fan reception. The influence factor. One of the critical elements of being the GOAT is the influence a superstar has on the industry and the culture surrounding it. Hulk Hogan revolutionized wrestling in the 1980s, bringing it to the mainstream and becoming a pop culture icon. Stone Cold Steve Austin changed the game in the late 90s, embodying the rebellious spirit of the Attitude Era and drawing millions of fans back to WWE. The Rock? He became one of the most electrifying men in sports entertainment, transcending wrestling and becoming a global superstar. Roman Reigns, while influential in his own right, doesn't have the same widespread influence outside of the wrestling bubble. His impact, while significant, is more contained within the WWE universe. He hasn't brought in a new generation of fans, nor has he defined an era in the same way that Austin, Hogan, or The Rock did. His tribal chief persona, though compelling, is largely a product of a well-crafted narrative rather than an organic movement that shook the foundations of WWE. Connection with the audience. Another key ingredient in the GOAT discussion is the connection between a wrestler and the audience. The greatest superstars in WWE history have always had a unique bond with the fans, whether they were loved or hated. Stone Cold's middle-finger-waving antics resonated with a generation tired of authority. The Rock's charisma made him a fan favorite, even when he was a heel. Hulk Hogan had the Hulkamaniacs who followed him religiously, and even John Cena, with his polarizing reactions, had a deep connection with the WWE universe. Roman Reigns' relationship with the fans has been turbulent, to say the least. For years, he was met with boos despite being pushed as the face of the company. It wasn't until his heel turn in 2020 that fans started to truly embrace him in his role as the head of the table. But even then, the connection feels somewhat forced, a product of WWE's relentless push rather than an organic groundswell of fan support. The WWE universe has been more accepting of Roman as a heel, but acceptance isn't the same as the passionate connection fans had with the likes of Austin, The Rock, or even Daniel Bryan. In-ring performance and storytelling. In-ring ability is another crucial factor when discussing the GOAT. Roman Reigns is a solid worker in the ring, no doubt about that. He's had some memorable matches and moments, particularly in the last couple of years. His storytelling in the ring has improved significantly since adopting his tribal chief persona, and his matches have become must-see events. However, when compared to other GOAT candidates, does he truly stand out? Shawn Michaels is often regarded as the greatest in-ring performer of all time. Bret Hart's technical prowess made him the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Even The Undertaker, with his storied WrestleMania streak, has a legacy that's deeply intertwined with his in-ring performances. Roman's matches, while good, don't quite reach the legendary status of those put on by the aforementioned superstars. His reliance on a repetitive formula, Superman punch, spear, guillotine choke, while effective, lacks the creativity and variety that made other superstars' matches timeless. His matches with the likes of Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Jey Uso were fantastic, but do they reach the level of a Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania? Or Bret Hart versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 13? Not quite. The competition factor. One of the most significant factors in determining a wrestler's greatness is the level of competition they faced. Stone Cold battled The Rock, Triple H, The Undertaker, and Vince McMahon himself during the Attitude Era's peak. Hogan had Andre the Giant, Randy Savage, and The Ultimate Warrior. These superstars were tested against the best of their time and came out on top. Roman's competition, while formidable, doesn't quite stack up to the legendary rivalries of the past. His primary adversaries during his 4-year reign have been Brock Lesnar, Kevin Owens, and Jey Uso. While these are all talented performers, they don't carry the same historical significance as the opponents faced by previous GOAT candidates. Roman hasn't had that one defining rivalry that stands the test of time, one that will be talked about for decades to come. Conclusion: more than just a long reign. In conclusion, while Roman Reigns' 4-year World Championship reign is undoubtedly impressive, it alone doesn't qualify him as the greatest of all time. Being the GOAT is about more than just holding onto a title for an extended period. It's about influence, connection with the audience, in-ring performance, storytelling, and competition. Roman Reigns is undoubtedly a top-tier talent in WWE, but when it comes to the GOAT conversation, there are other names that deserve the title more than him.